It's time now for Real Estate Update. With Usha Chandra of GlobeNet Realty, real estate is our world.
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this very exciting segment. Once again, the weekly real estate update with Usha Chandra of GlobeNet Realty, exclusive to Australian Indian Radio. With that, welcome to the show, Usha.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Ms. Chandra and Australian Indian Radio.
And as I said, always a pleasure to have you on the show. And today there's a lot that's been happening out there. So first of all, let's take a look at what's been happening in the capital cities with the auction scene.
Yes, let's have a quick look at the combined capital city record, the busiest auction week since mid-June. There were 2,393 homes taken to auction across the combined capital cities last week, the busiest week since mid-June, which was 2,528 homes were taken to auction, while up 4.1% from the previous week of 2,298. The number of homes taken to auction last week was minus 43.7%, lower than this time last year, which was 4,251 homes when selling conditions were more favorable. Of the 1,824 results collected so far, 61.5% were successful. Last week's preliminary clearance rate was 1.6% points higher, which was 63.1%, revising down to 60.2% at the final figures. While this time last year, 68.5% of reported auctions were successful. Across the smaller capital cities, Brisbane was the busiest auction market last week. 154 properties were taken to auction, followed by closely by Canberra, 152 properties, and Adelaide, 148 properties. Adelaide has recorded the strongest preliminary clearance rate so far, 65.9%. Followed by Canberra 62.8% and Brisbane 47.4%. In Perth, 3 of the 8 results collected so far retained a successful result, while 3 auctions held in Tasmania were unsuccessful. So that's the results of the major capital cities of Australia.
So looking at that, Brisbane didn't do too bad, being up there. Well, okay. So right now, let's take a look at what does it relate to in terms of clearance rates and the numbers of auctions.
Yes, looking at the Sydney markets first. Clearance rate in Sydney was 64.2%. 933 properties were taken to auction and 475 were sold under the hammer. Melbourne was 61%. 987 properties were taken to auction and 472 sold under the hammer. Brisbane was 47.4%. 154 properties were taken to auction and only 54 sold. Adelaide was 65.9%. 148 properties were taken to auction and 60 sold under the hammer. Perth was not applicable. Tasmania was not applicable. Canberra was 62.8%. 152 properties were taken to auction and 59 sold under the hammer. So let's have a quick look at the average around the capital cities. 61.5% were clearance rate, and 2,393 properties were taken to auction and 1,123 were sold under the hammer. So that's the results. Approximately around 62 point something percent was the cleared auctions. There was uncleared auctions was 701 properties were not sold.
And once again, I mentioned that Brisbane did very well, really looking at the clearance rates and the number of auctions as well. So well done for the Brisbane market coming of age, because Brisbane traditionally was not a very auction pro market apart from the inner city and other areas, but Suburbia was always more the private city. Well, moving on, let's take a look at what's actually happening value-wise, and the two ways that we gauge is what actually happened in this 1 month period, and then of course how that relates to the yearly results. So first of all, let's take a look at the monthly change.
Yes, looking at the monthly change, let's have a quick look at the Sydney market, minus 1.2%. Melbourne was minus 0.7%. Brisbane is minus 1.8%. Adelaide is minus 0.3%. Perth is minus 1.1%. So the combined capital cities was minus 1%. So looking at Brisbane was the highest minus, is 1.8%.
So Brisbane is going through that adjustment period, where the property was really, really high. But overall, it did quite well. Well, right now, let's take a look at, as I mentioned, the more interesting figure now, looking at what happened within this month. How does that equate to the 12-month change?
Yes, let's have a quick look at the 12-month change. Sydney market first, minus 10.5%. Melbourne is minus 6.8%. Brisbane is plus 3.8%. Adelaide is plus 13.8%. Perth is plus 3.7%. So still the combined capital cities is minus 5.2%.
And again, looking at those figures, look at how Brisbane has slipped down to 3.8. That's because of what's been happening in the monthly ones. And at one stage, it was up to about 16%, in the 12-month change. But right now, because of the monthly results pulling it down, Adelaide's doing really, really well out there as well. Well, right now, of course, we're coming on to the Christmas and everything. So what is available on the market in terms of sales listings?
Yes, let's have a quick look at the sales listings for the week, for the week and for the 4-week count. Looking at Brisbane market first, 3,912 properties have come on the market. It's gone down by basically 1,000 listings. 14,807 is the 4-week count. Sydney is 6,087 new properties have come on the market. 22,679 is the 4-week count. And Canberra is 760 new listings. 2,258 is the 4-week count. Melbourne has got 7,839 new listings come on the market, and the 4-week count is 28,853. Looking at Adelaide, 2,097 new properties have come on the market. 4-week count is 5,126. Hobart is 424 properties come on the market, and 1,350 is the 4-week count. Perth is 4,197 new properties. 4-week count is 14,520. And Darwin is 219 new listings have come on the market. So the 4-week count is 1,173. Looking at the combined capital cities, 25,535 new listings have come across the major capitals of Australia. 90,766 is the 4-week count. So still the listings are quite good in most of the cities. Down, but everywhere it's down by, apart from Hobart. Hobart was in 300s, now it's 424.
Well, it's good to see that there's a steady supply of listings coming onto the market. Well, ladies and gentlemen, right now, let's move on to the rental market. Usha, as you know, that in real estate, the two sides of the coin, sales and rental. So what's happening in the rental listings?
Yes, looking at the rental listings in Brisbane, Brisbane has got 4,666 new listings in rental section, quite large number, and 4-week count is 8,882. Sydney is 13,634. Looking at the rental listings compared to the sales, quite large number of rentals are coming on the market. 13,634 in Sydney. 4-week count is 28,217. Canberra has got large number of rentals. It was only in 900s or whatever. 1,228 new properties have come on the market, and 2,198 is the 4-week count. Melbourne has got 11,805 new listings on the rental market, and 24,576 is the 4-week count. Darwin has got 331 new rentals, and Perth has got 3,232 new rentals. Hobart is 336 new properties have come on the market in rental section. Adelaide has got 1,659 new rentals, and 4-week count is 2,8 885. So combined capital cities, 36,891 new listings have come on the market in rentals. 74,092 is the 4-week count. So lots of more rentals are coming. We are not experienced that many difficulties in tenants going into the homes now, especially during Christmas coming so close. A lot of people want to be settled before Christmas, so rental demand is quite high, still quite high, but the listings, if you look at the listings on the board there, it's quite a large number of listings coming on the rental market.
So a roof over the head over the Christmas period, it would be a good thing for many people, and that's the way we. So okay, right now let's take a look at some of the stats. What are the rental average and medium rents, and what sort of yields are the investors getting on those properties?
Yes, looking at Sydney market first, rentals haven't changed too much. I was looking at all the rentals, $670 per week. It's pretty steady in Sydney, and the 12-month change is 10.4%, not a large number of change, and the current yield is 3.01%. Melbourne is $499. It's steady for about 4-5 weeks, similar rent. The 12-month change is 9%, and the rental yield is 3.14%. Brisbane is $578, pretty steady there as well. 13.5% is the 12-month change, and 4% is the current yield. Adelaide is $513 per week, and the 12-month change is 13%. 3.88% is their current yield. Perth is $538 per week, and 12-month change is 9.696%, and the current yield is 4.58%. And Hobart is $550 per week, and 12-month change is 6.8%. 3.96% is their current yield. Darwin is $591 per week, similar rent for a couple of weeks. The 12-month change is 5.9%, and their current yield is quite high, 6.27%, very high yield there. Canberra is $679 per week, very similar rent for a couple of weeks, and 5.9% is the 12-month change, and 4.01% is their current yield. So looking at the combined capital city, the medium rental price is $566 per week, and 10.3% is the 12-month change, and 3.43% is the current yield. Let's have a quick look at the combined regionals. $494 per week, pretty steady rent there as well. 9.3% is the 12-month change, and 4.38% is the current yield. So quite good yield in the regional markets as well. National average is medium rent is $546 per week, and 12-month change is 10%, and the current yield is 3.65% nationally. So that's the rental amounts, and the 12-month change, and the current yield.
And once again, not bad, when you look at the yield, and I just can't get over Darwin, 6.27% yield. Well, of course, some people would be benefiting from that. Others who might be thinking by the time you get into the market and get to getting an yield, the market could have changed. I'm not saying it will, but it could. So that's the way things go. Well, right now, one of the other things that we look at is on a weekly basis is the top sales in Queensland.
Yes, let's have a quick look at the top sales in Queensland. In Brisbane, actually, 59 Hunter Street in Indooroopilly. There's 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and 2-car accommodation. That's sold for $5,760,000. Quite a large amount. It seems it's quite an old house, but look at the value of that property. $5,760 sold for. The next property in Queensland is Mermaid Beach. It's apartment at Hedges Avenue, 272 Hedges Avenue. 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and 2 cars. Sold for $5.9 6.5 million. So quite large amount of dollars there in both the properties. Looking at apartments selling for 5.5 million, and then Queensland House, which looks like an old timber house, maybe on a bigger land or whatever, 5,760,000. So good amount.
That is amazing, the kind of values that people are getting. As you mentioned, that the Indrapilli house must have something going for it, either the land or the situation or where it is, and the Mermaid one could even be the penthouse. Well, it is a sub-penthouse. It's not the top one, by the looks of it. As you look on the photo, they've got an arrow pointing to where it is. So, imagine if the sub-penthouse is sold for that much, what would the penthouses go for? Well, right now, there's been so much talk about the Reserve Bank and the interest rates that's happening. So let's take a look at this report, and then we will reflect on that right after the report.
With the RBA signalling rates would stay on hold until 2024, thousands of Australians took on massive mortgage debt.
It's been a shocker. We sold our house last year and bought a new one here in the area. The difference in what we'd expected versus what we're living it's a very different world.
I think it was a stupid promise to make in the first place, quite frankly.
Well, that's truly misleading from the central bank, and they shouldn't have done that.
Today, the RBA governor apologised.
I'm certainly sorry if people listened to what we'd said and then acted on that, what we'd said, and now regret what they had done.
About 280,000 Australians borrowed at least 6 or more times their income at the height of the pandemic housing boom. Many of them put down deposits of just 10%. After 7 back-to-back rate rises, that took the cash rate to 2.85%. People on variable loans are paying around 6% interest. Critics say the RBA is hiking rates too aggressively.
And the Reserve Bank needs to really consider the consequences of those quite significant interest rate costs, which are falling on households that can't afford it.
But the Prime Minister says he stands by the governor.
Well, we have confidence in Dr. Lowe and his position as the head of the Reserve Bank.
For years, the Reserve Bank has been calling for wage rises, but now its fear is that if wages rise too quickly, that will prolong inflation, building the case for higher rates. The next rate rise is likely to be next week. Nasim Khadem.
So there you are, ladies and gentlemen, so looking at those rate rises and things, what has that done to the market, especially in your area?
Yes, looking at that rapid rate rises, the people are really scared actually. They borrowed at 2.8% or 3%. Now they're putting the double amount of interest rate rise, 6% or whatever. It's costing them a lot more money. People are going starving actually, and they are trying to hold on to their houses and paying off the debts, paying off the mortgage, so to have a roof over their head. Because of the misleading advice was given to them that the rate rises won't be there for quite a few years. That's why people invested all that sort of money to buy their properties and have a roof over their heads. And people are struggling actually in our area as well. Some people are decided to sell because they can't afford the mortgage rates. So in coming Christmas time, people will be struggling to celebrate Christmas with their loved ones because of the rate rises.
Well, I think you have quite rightly said that the apology is there, but that doesn't help the situation, because people really are struggling. Well, Usha, thank you so much for being on the show today and sharing all these very insightful resources into the real estate industry. So, it's been so good to have you on the show.
GlobeNet Realty. GlobeNet Realty has been the longest established, trusted and respected agency in its trade area. Usha Chandra, Director of GlobeNet Realty, provides honest and ethical service to her customers. If you are thinking of investing in Brisbane real estate market, or if you are seeking professional property management, then you should contact Usha Chandra today on landline 3865 4466 or mobile 0419 775 416. And for further updates, log on to our website www.globenetralty.com.au. GlobeNet Realty is your own local real estate agency. situated at Shop 52281 Sandgate Road, Boondall. GlobeNet Realty. Real estate is our world.